Hey everyone, and welcome back to Bridging the Gap. Make sure to leave a like on this video down below and subscribe. My name is Alvin. I lean right on most issues, and I'll be representing the Republican side.
My name is Luke. I lean left on most issues, and I'll be representing the Democratic side. Now, in this video, we are going to be making our early predictions for the 2024 Senate elections. Yes.
Yeah, so it's been a while since we've done a video, honestly, because there hasn't been that much to be talking about when it comes to elections. But we think now a few senators have been making their declarations of whether or not they'll be running or not. There's speculation for others, but we're ready to get into the 2024 cycle in terms of the Senate. So let's start with the races that are honestly pretty much irrelevant. We want to brush on at least all of them just because this is our first prediction. And honestly, I think we can start with the state of Delaware with Senator Carper. He's very relevant, and this is just not necessary. Hawaii is unnecessary. Rhode Island is unnecessary. And I think that's probably all the completely irrelevant Democrat ones.
Oh
On
yeah,
the
Maryland. You could probably throw Maryland in there too. Maybe even Washington,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah. We could throw in Maryland. I think maybe we should touch on Washington just because it was sort of talked about last
Yeah,
cycle.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
And then on the Republican side, I think we can just not talk about Mississippi and probably North Dakota, and Wyoming. So I think off the bat, would you agree with this?
I mean, like, do you want to like throw in like Nebraska or Tennessee or anything like that, or you think we should just like
Okay,
brush
I
over
mean,
those
yeah,
two as
we can
well?
probably throw in Nebraska. Tennessee does have a firebrand up for election,
Okay,
re-election.
okay, okay. So yeah, we'll
But
touch on all these. Yeah.
yeah, I think the first thing that we can notice here is the amount of senators in the top. Democrats need to almost get basically 20 seats to even retain the majority right now, while Republicans only have to pick up 8 plus the vice presidency or 9, which is not that much. So we can see immediately that the Republicans are heavily favored.
Yeah, this is definitely a very Democratic unfriendly map. There's lots of Democratic senators up for election, some of them in like red and swing states. So very bad map for Democrats. Yeah.
Yeah, these are the Democrats from the 2018 blue wave that took a lot of swing states with them. So now they're going to have to defend them and some legacy Democrats that held on that are in Republican states. So we'll get to those, but let's just start off with the states that are completely solid that aren't going to have that much discussion after this video, but we should want to touch on. So how about you start with the Democrats in Washington?
Well, in Washington, I believe it's what is it, Maria Cantwell. So something like that, right? Or
Yes,
Man Cantwell.
Maria.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Maria, something like that. But they've been a Democrat for a while. They've won solidly in the state over and over again. I don't really see a challenge being a good Republican challenge being posed against her, especially seeing as the Democrats won Washington pretty easily in 2022. I don't think 2024 is going to be much of a problem. So I think that's definitely solid.
Yeah, and then I think we can also go to California, which is obviously going to vote Democrat. The incumbent senator, Dianne Feinstein, is retiring, and the
Yeah.
primary race there will be interesting. But in terms of who wins the general, I mean, the primary might even be Democrat versus Democrat by this
I will
point.
say,
So
yeah, that primary is going to be really interesting. You have Adam Schiff running, who was like the headed like the impeachment trials against Trump, and then you have Katie Porter on running, who's like a progressive Democrat who won in that 2018 wave. So that's going to be really interesting. I'm definitely going to be watching Cali.
yeah, not in terms of the general though. And in terms of which party wins, I mean.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then I guess we can also move to the other side where we have Minnesota, for example, with Klobuchar. I mean, unless she runs for president and then, the seat is free or whatever, this one's probably just going to be safe for her.
Yeah.
Then we have the other ones. You can go into the next one, whichever you want to do.
I mean, do we think Tim Kaine would be in Virginia would be solid blue? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, the only way it's not is if Glenn Youngkin gives up his
yeah.
governorship immediately or tries to run for it. But I think that's very doubtful. He's a first-term governor, and that's just very unlikely to happen.
Uh,
Um, yeah.
Yeah, so there's that. Also going to New York, I believe it's Senator is it like Kirsten Gillibrand? Yes. She's been doing pretty well. I mean, she's done pretty well in New York. I think the only way we see a proper threat to her is if Lee Zeldin runs like he did in 2022 and almost unseated Hochul as governor. If he runs, then that could be I could see that closening up. But right now, I think Gillibrand, like, she's probably going to win New York solidly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's also interesting because a lot of progressives want AOC to take that Senate seat. But I'm very doubtful Gillibrand will actually retire this cycle at all. So AOC potentially will be replacing Schumer at some point, but we'll see. And then there's the state of Vermont, which is interesting because Bernie Sanders holds that seat and he could potentially run for president, he could potentially run for nothing, or he could potentially run for re-election. So there's a lot of variables there for Vermont. Vermont is a state where it's very difficult to get into state level politics, especially with how few House of Representatives seats there are. So the new House of Representatives rep is a first term rep because the old one ran for Senate to replace Pat Leahy. So now Vermont's very weird in terms of who they might select. I guess Republicans could technically put up Phil Scott, and then this race could get interesting, but it's probably just safety at this point in time.
Yeah, I agree. Also other races up there. I mean, Chris Murphy in Connecticut. We have Elizabeth Warren in Massachusetts. Both like very popular Democrats running. They're definitely going to win their races, so we can characterize both solid. And Maine. You want to talk about Maine?
Yeah, so Maine has an independent. I mean, I guess it's same thing for Vermont. I'm just counting Bernie as a Democrat and might as well count Senator King as a Democrat here because if you don't, I don't know what type of political analysis you're doing. But anyways, Maine has Senator King in there, and there's a few questions surrounding whether or not he's going to run again. And if he doesn't, there's technically it's Maine, so Republicans are always going to have a shot there. But there are no really high-level Republicans that are slated to run. So I think this is most likely a safe Democrat seat. When we add the possibility that he does rerun for election, obviously securing it for the Democrats, or in the case of him retiring, the Democrats are still very, very likely to hold on to the seat.
Yeah. And I also would like to note these predictions are in the case that the incumbent is running. Like, so if they haven't said whether they're running or not, we're assuming that they are going to be running. So yeah, just an FYI. Yeah. Okay. You want to go with the Republican races? Yeah.
Yeah, so I think we can obviously start off with Missouri here. We have a very, I guess, within the conservative base, a very popular senator in Josh Hawley, and he's considered maybe one of the most conservative senators. He's easily going to win in Missouri. Missouri used to be a swing state before I was born. Now this is not a swing state anymore. Then we have Tennessee, which has Marsha Blackburn. She's probably most well known in the past 2-3 years for asking Ketanji Brown Jackson on what a woman is. And honestly, this is also going to be completely red.
I guess next we can go to Utah. In Utah, the incumbent senator Mitt Romney, who obviously like was the former head of the Republican Party running for president, and has since become a more moderate figure in the party. We don't know whether or not he's running for re-election yet, so I would definitely keep my eye on that. Like, I mean, that's a very interesting race. But either way, this race is probably going solid red.
Yeah, I mean, even Evan McMullin couldn't break through last time. He got basically around 10 points, but this is still definitely safe Republican. Utah isn't going to change anytime soon.
And what else?
And then I would probably just I would just go over here to Indiana, which is probably just Republican as well. Mike Braun is
retiring. Jim Banks is running there.
And well, the primary there will be interesting. We have Nebraska special election because of a new senator in Nebraska, which is interesting. This one is still going to be just held by the incumbent, though, likely. And then probably we can just go ahead and mark off Florida.
You think Florida's solid?
I think it is probably solid. Maybe not as solid as Tennessee, but
I actually would
honestly,
I would argue it's likely here. Like if you want to, I mean, like okay.
okay.
So let's say we who do we have here? We have Rick Scott running for reelection in for that Florida Senate seat. I mean, Rick Scott's been like under a lot of fire recently. I mean, like with the like he's the guy who pitched the bill of sunsetting what is it? Was it Medicare and Social Security? I mean, that's a little out there even for the conservatives, and even Republicans in his own party are kind of distancing themselves from his plan. So I mean, I don't know. I feel like that's gonna hurt him in a state with like a large older population, a retiree population in Florida. So I think that could actually like kind of play against him. I mean, the problem for the Democrats is they don't really have anyone good to run, but like as of right now. But I mean, yeah, I could see this definitely being like a likely
Here's
race.
the thing though. I think with, DeSantis winning by 20 points in the midterm cycle, I think Florida's actually gonna more Republicans are gonna be moving to Florida within these last 2 years because of the DeSantis hype from various states in the union, and that's going to march Rick Scott over 10 points in my opinion. But yeah,
I mean, I guess we'll defer to you here on this one because yeah, we
okay,
have a lot
we'll
more
see.
states to get
We
to.
okay. We have probably New Jersey. Bob Menendez, it's our home state. I think he's probably just gonna win by over 10, unfortunately.
I
Um,
mean, I will say, I mean, there's what is it, Ciattarelli? I mean,
Chitterelli,
Chitterelli. Sorry.
yeah,
A few runs that could be like. I mean, we know Menendez. Like he's always going to be the
he's
second
not my
senator to us.
senator, not my
He's
senator.
Booker's always going to be the better senator than Menendez. I mean, like some of the stuff he does kind of shady, like not ideal. Um, I I mean, like I think in 2018 he only won by 12 points, which isn't much for a blue wave year. So he might. I mean, if the Republicans pick up a good candidate, they could definitely close
True.
in this race. But
Should we put this as likely then?
I think we leave it solid for now because
Okay,
right now Chitterelli looks like he's going to go for governor in 2025. So I
yeah,
don't really think they have
I
anyone good
agree.
yet.
Okay, and then I guess we could finish this off potentially. We have Pennsylvania, which is a lot more solid than you'd think. Bob Casey's likely to run, I would think, and
Isn't
he
he
got.
running? I'm not
I
100% sure.
I'm not sure if he has declared, but I think he's probably gonna run. And he won. He had so much of the vote in 2018. He had over 55%. So I think this is honestly solid. He's very popular in Pennsylvania. If John Fetterman can win by his margin, Bob Casey should have no problem.
And also, I should note, like Doug Mastriano has expressed interest in running for this
That's hilarious.
Senate seat, and if he does, then that's game over. Then Democrats win that easily if Mastriano becomes the nominee, like
Dr.
he was for
Oz,
governors.
Dr. Oz. Okay.
Oh yeah, Oz too. Yeah.
That's funny. Okay. And now I think there's some skepticism around Wisconsin and Michigan, as we'll see later. And of course, everything else here in the Rust Belt in Montana. Nevada and Arizona have interesting races. I think New Mexico actually could be considered safe Democrat. Although the senator in 2018, I'm not even sure how to pronounce his last name.
Is it? It's
Heinrich.
like Heinrich. Heinrich. I don't know.
Heinrich. I don't
I
know
don't
how to
know.
pronounce it, but he did win less than 55%, and that was in 2018. So it is a
Mm.
little weird on New Mexico here. I wouldn't be fully safe because he won by under 10 in 2018. What do you think?
Actually, I think I would put this likely because Hispanic shifts toward the Republican Party
Yeah.
and stuff along those lines. Like even in 2018, as you said, like he didn't get to that 55 mark. So I think we can put him like in this likely area here. Yeah.
All right. And I think those are all the all the could be considered safe states gone. And now I guess we can go on to the likely states for either party, which honestly are very difficult to characterize other than New Mexico. I
I mean,
guess yeah, go ahead.
I mean, immediately I'm thinking Texas here. Like, what about you?
You think Texas is likely Republican?
I mean, right now, like I don't like them. Like the Dems don't. I we're not sure if Beto's running or not. That's what I'll say. We don't know if Beto's running or not. We don't know if and he's our star in Texas. Like if Beto
Oh
runs, then
no.
lean Republican. But if he doesn't, and the Democrats, like if they mess this up and they don't get like a good Democrat running, I mean, there's the Castro brothers like Julian and Joaquin Castro. I'm not sure how strong they'd be statewide, but yeah, I mean, it depends. Right now, I'm thinking likely, but if one of those guys runs, then it's lean, but we're not sure
I
yet.
actually think it's going to be lean at a minimum and even tilt potentially. I don't see this being likely at all. I could be completely wrong. Beto clearly has a fetish for losing to Republicans, and so I actually think this is gonna be lean. I really don't think this is likely at all, but yeah, I think it could actually even be tilt. So I would put my average there as lean.
Okay, I mean, I think yeah. Okay, then I think we put lean then. We'll
Yeah.
say lean then. Okay. Any other like likely races we can think of
The
here?
most
Like,
likely one would be Michigan, honestly. Everything else is just
dude.
so close.
Well,
Um, yeah,
Michigan. I mean, Michigan here. Uh, would
I
Michigan be
think it's
likely?
it's gonna be Michigan or Nevada here. There's no other way it's
Nevada?
anything else.
No, I think you're being kind of pessimistic for the Republican side here. What about West Virginia?
No,
Like,
West Virginia is not. It really isn't. I don't think you can really say West Virginia is likely Republican at all, and I'm not even sure it's lean
okay,
Republican. Uh,
okay. So what do we want to characterize here first? So what race are
how
we going
about we
into
just
here?
go from the East Coast to the West, and since we're
Okay,
talking about West
east to
Virginia,
west. We'll go to
all
West
right,
Virginia. Okay.
let's go to West Virginia.
Okay, wait, but like okay, last year, like the last time this race was up, 2018.
Mhm.
Joe Manchin, which is a conservative-ish Democrat in West Virginia, who's winning in this state that Republicans have won basically forever. He won in 2018 a blue wave year by 3 points. Now, 2024 is likely not going to be a blue wave year with Biden at the top of the ticket. I mean, it's a presidential election. You usually don't have these types of wave years in a presidential election. Like the last time that happened was what, like 2008? So I don't see Evan since 2018, Manchin's only gotten less popular, especially after passing the Inflation Reduction Act. I like his approval's down. I don't see how he survives. Like the Republicans are going to be doing everything in their power to unseat him because this is the easiest seat for them to gain, right?
Yeah, here's the thing though. I mean, looking at the polling even by Republican groups, we can see only Jim Justice, the governor, would probably beat Manchin here. And even on that, I mean, these are the Alex Mooney is a representative, right? So it's not exactly like he's low name recognition. Jim Justice,
Mm.
Joe Manchin is winning over 50% in these types of potential
Jesus.
potential matchups. And then Jim Justice is probably I think he's just going to run for governor again, right? It's the cycle for governor is in 2024 as well. So I believe he's right, like he could just run again. He's not term limited or anything, correct?
I'm not. I'm actually not sure. I
I'm
mean,
actually not sure on this race, but I'm pretty sure if he's not term limited, he'd just run again. I mean, why wouldn't he? He'd just be, potentially putting him up to end his political career instead of just waiting. And I think this is definitely not likely. If anything, it's lean Republican, and if anything else, it could even be tilt. And it could even be tilt
hmm.
the other way. This is
Oh,
not even.
wait. Breaking news, Alvin. Jim Justice is term limited.
Oh, he is
He
term
is. He
limited.
might actually
Okay.
run.
Okay, I think that shifts it to lean Republican then, because that says more likely that he's going to run. But I don't think this is likely at all. This is just impossible. If he just doesn't
Okay.
run, it's probably tilt Manchin even.
I mean, I could see it lean. I was like between lean and likely Republican for West Virginia here. I'm not gonna lie, but
I'm
I
not
think chances are
optimistic.
Joe Manchin loses that.
Not
Okay.
optimistic. Trump is probably messing up this cycle even more. There's going to be civil war in the Republican Party. Biden's not exactly hated anymore by his own base.
Well,
And yeah, I don't
I
think it's
mean,
going to be that bad. I don't think it's going to be that bad for Joe. He might even win. But anyways, let's go to Ohio. We don't have much time.
yeah. We're
Ohio
gonna keep
has
moving.
another incumbent Democrat in a Republican state. Here we have
Sherrod Brown.
Sherrod
Yeah.
Brown, yeah, Sherrod Brown. And Matt Dolan's declared, as you can see in Wikipedia, with a lot of the other Republicans as more low name recognition. And honestly, this is really weird. I actually think this is going to be tilt Democrat, and this is a very
Yeah,
hot take. This is a
I
very
agree.
hot take. I think Jared Brown is extremely underrated as a candidate in many different ways. His way with words and things like that. You don't exactly have a star candidate on the Republican side. Dolan obviously lost his primary to JD Vance. That's just not a good look for him and tilt Democrat. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right. This one's going to be probably, in my opinion, the closest race in the country, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's go to Michigan, which Stabenow is retiring, so this is going to be a very interesting race and less Democrat favored. But I actually thought this was the most likely to be a likely Democrat state. Reason being, Trump is a lot less popular now than in 2020 before he decided to get a crowd to have a little picnic in Nancy Pelosi's office. And that was a joke, by the way. Yeah, so obviously Stabeno's not there, but this is a really weird race because Biden is not exactly like he could win Michigan by a lot more than 5 points this time around, especially if he's running against Trump and maybe even DeSantis because DeSantis doesn't have the Rust Belt appeal. So I actually think Democrats are going to win the state by over 5 next cycle on both the
Really?
presidential level and potentially the Senate level. But the
I
the
mean,
the problem is there isn't a very strong Democrat nominee.
well, we will. I will say, Dems did do amazing in Michigan in 2022 when they were supposed to get like flattened. But 2024, I think it's definitely still going to be a swing state. I don't think Dems are going to. It's like that much of a done deal that it's likely. I think it's going to still be very close. Right now, Dems are thinking of running either the lieutenant governor or a moderate representative, Elisa Slotkin, for the Senate race. I think both would be brilliant candidates. And the Republicans don't have really any statewide people to run. So I think, yeah, for me, I'd put this as a lean race, lean blue.
Okay, I mean, we do have to consider how well Gretchen Whitmer did though in last cycle when it was supposed to be a Republican year.
Yeah, but they ran what, Tudor Dixon, which was a horrible idea, and they
Who
messed up their primary.
and Republicans do not have a better candidate than Tudor Dixon this time.
I mean, well, if they run,
I do want.
what's his name?
John James.
Yeah, John James. Maybe.
Yeah. But
He'd
I
be
mean,
okay,
honestly, there's not much better than Tudor Dixon. Tudor Dixon might even be the best candidate based on
No
her name
way.
recognition. Based on her name rec, who else on this list is very high? No one. Absolutely no one. But you can say what you want. Everyone here is irrelevant. So, anyways,
Okay.
we'll just continue on to Wisconsin, which will
Wisconsin.
probably, hopefully, this race will be somewhat interesting. Tammy
Actually,
Baldwin
yeah,
is favored, but
definitely,
go
for
ahead.
sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Tammy Baldwin. We have a deal-making Democrat in Wisconsin. She won by like 10 points in 2018. Definitely favored to win here. The Republicans are probably going to run like some form, like some representative, right? Is there any like potential candidates or wait? What are the?
Yeah.
Is this a race? They have
this is
a
the
fund
race.
manager.
This is the race. This is really interesting. Honestly, I think the pool here is very low. It's weird. The pool for the Republicans, I don't think Wikipedia exactly has updated this well. But Wisconsin, I mean, I don't think Republicans have exactly strong candidates this time around. I think Baldwin is favored probably by a lean margin right now. It still is Wisconsin in a presidential year, so I wouldn't put this to likely, but Baldwin is not that popular, to be fair. She is not the most popular senator. She does have about even approval ratings, correct, which doesn't look that great considering she won by 10 in 2018. Potentially she's fallen. So this is going to be not the best race for her, but I think Democrats will hold on. All right.
Definitely close.
And then Montana here, which is another Democrat defense of a Republican state. And, John Tester, he's got some oomph. Okay. He's got the big body. He's got the big votes in 2018 that pull through for him. And this is going to be a much worse year than 2018, probably. But I mean, Republicans do have potentially strong candidates. I'm not even going to say they don't. They have actual names that I can recognize in Matt Rosendale, Greg Forte, Ryan Zink, and that's honestly good for them. But John Tester, I think, does have a very good shot, and I would put this probably tilt Republican.
Tilt Republican? I mean, I think I'm stuck between tilt red and tilt blue here, because the latest like morning consult like approval rating poll showed John Tester like through the roof at like plus 20. It was something crazy like that. Like he's very approved of. I think it depends on who he goes up against here, because like I mean he's won close races before, even before 2018. I mean he won 2018 by 3, but I mean yeah, he's won close races before in Montana. He's like a tested candidate. And it does depend on who the Republicans run here, because if they run Zinke, I mean, he almost lost in 2022. So I don't think he would be the best to run. I think Rosendale would definitely be better to run against for the Republicans to run here. But yeah, like that, it's going to be really close. I think. Wait, are there polls out for this race? There might be.
There are polls out for this race right here, as you can see.
I mean, that's a Republican pollster. I mean, I don't know. I think it's possible. I'm genuinely in the middle on this, so I'll defer to you here. But yeah,
okay. Yeah, I don't know. I just think the fact that he won by so little in 2018 just doesn't bode well. Like I understand where you're coming from with the approval and his polling, but I think we need to see better polling before I move this to the Democrats, because he barely got over 50%, and that was in 2018. So, I mean, if you're going to make that argument in West Virginia, I think it's even bigger here in Montana, with how slim that margin is, right? Like,
yeah.
It's very difficult to see that. We need more polling.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, let's go to Arizona then, where probably the most interesting race of the entire cycle. Yes, we have a Democrat nominee and likely Ruben Gallego. I don't think anyone is going to beat him. We have Republicans who might nominate Carrie Lake again.
Or Masters too.
Masters. I don't think they'll nominate Masters because Carrie Lake did better. So honestly, it's probably just going to be her. I don't think anyone else can challenge Carrie Lake. She has risen to stardom basically in Arizona, and she's likely going to win that. And of course, we have incumbent Senator Kyrsten Sinema, and
as an independent, yeah.
And yeah, this is going to be a three-way race. I did like the three-way primary debates in Arizona last time. They were funny. Hopefully, we have more funny ones like that. But what do you think?
I will note, Kyrsten Sinema hasn't announced whether or not she's running yet. But since we're assuming that the incumbents are running, we're going to assume this is a three-way race here. So assuming Kyrsten Sinema does run, I think the Republican is favored, because Sinema, I mean, despite Sinema being more popular among Republicans than among Democrats, I think she's still going to steal more Democratic votes than Republican votes, based on like the way she votes in the Senate. So I think she's going to end up stealing votes from Ruben Gallego and giving the Republican, no matter how extreme they are, the win here. So I would actually rate this lean R right now. Yeah, but like, I mean, I was like thinking about this race. I think if Sinema just stayed a Democrat and ran as a Democrat and she won the primary, this would be a likely blue race. And it might even be a likely blue race if Gallego it was just Gallego running against like Carrie Lake or something. But because of Sinema, because there's a Democrat and an independent which leans toward the Democratic side, it's dangerous for them now. I think it is a real threat that this flips. Yeah,
I think actually Kyrsten Sinema changing to independent was the worst course of action for the Democrats, because if she just she didn't run, obviously Gallego's winning. If she ran as a Democrat, she'd just lose the primary to Gallego, and Gallego would probably win. Especially since the Arizona Democrats already censured her. The people there don't like her. No one likes Sinema, honestly. No Republican or Democrat. And I think Gallego would be the next senator from Arizona, right? But her declaring as an independent, honestly, gives the worst hopes for Democrats, because Gallego is probably just going to get votes stolen from him. And I think, yes, I agree. The most likely scenario is in 2024, we have Senator Lake because of Cinema's decisions. Cinema has a very low shot at victory as an independent. I know she probably made this move to get reelected. She thought this was her best choice, but honestly, what is she doing?
Yeah,
like
she's polling like at what 14? Like at the highest I've seen her poll is like 20.
Correct.
Like
she has to have done internal polling before making the decision to change to an independent, and it looks absolutely abysmal. Just look at these polls, right? Just look at them. And yes, Gal goes ahead, but you know, we're just thinking about it, and we're saying Lake's probably favored here with Gallego and Cinema. We need more polls for sure, but I mean, I'm not blaming polling companies for not going into this race right now. It's A, the most difficult race to poll in the country, and B, it's February 2023. So I'm not blaming them. But lean Republican it is. All right, let's head to Nevada, where in 2022, Republicans made a little bit of a breakthrough in Nevada, more shifts to the right, but they were unable to take the Senate seat from Catherine Cortez Masto. Thoughts?
Yeah, so here in this race we have incumbent Senator Jackie Rosen. I think she won for the first she won her first term in 2018 by like 5 points. I'm not sure.
Wait, five points?
I think it was 5 points. Yeah.
Oh,
she
really?
flipped. Wait.
We'll just look here. Yeah, it was by 5 points. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's pretty good. She beat an incumbent senator by 5 points in 2018. That's pretty solid. But I don't know. Nevada was really, really close in 2022. And then there's the Hispanic shifts, of course, we've been bringing up those shifts in the Las Vegas area. This is definitely going to be a really close race. I think because she's the incumbent and the Republicans, I don't believe are thinking of running someone like Laxalt. Oh, Laxalt might run. He's a potential candidate. But as of right now, I think it's lean blue. It depends on who the Republicans run. If they run some rando, then it's probably going to stay lean blue. But if it's like Adam Laxalt again, who has experience in statewide office in Nevada, then it could be tilt blue. But yeah, I think Jackie Rosen's definitely favorite here.
Yeah, honestly, by November of 2024, I'm literally just going to put what John Ralston says and just mark it off because John Ralston has been too accurate in Nevada. I'm not going to bet against him. I don't care what he says. I'm just going to put it, and that's going to be my prediction personally. I'm going to defer to him in terms of the state. If for those that don't know, he basically perfectly predicted every single statewide race in Nevada, including the split ticket of the Senate and governor and all 3 House seats, which most people thought were at least 2 of them were going Republican. He said all Democrats, and he was right. So yeah, I just think it's impossible to bet against him.
He's too powerful.
We'll put lean blue for now, but I don't know. I don't know about you, Luke. I'm just gonna put whatever he says in next cycle. I'm sorry. So
come on, we gotta trust our own predictions over Ralston, Alvin. Come on.
I mean, even I think like Sabato's crystal ball last cycle were like, you know what, we're just gonna put Ralston and they were right. Jesus. So I think it's perfectly legitimate when you have such a good source to just go with it. But anyways, this is our prediction. Last year, Republicans were a lot more optimistic that they'd already be at 53 seats so that they could flip to get to potentially 60. Now, looking at a best case, they'd only be at 55 or so. So Democrats did a lot better in 2022, which sets them up to potentially hold the Senate here. They'd have to obviously keep Montana and then potentially hold West Virginia, Arizona, or flip Texas somehow. But
yeah,
it's going to be very difficult. They've got to do 2 of the 4 and then still win the presidency for their best shot, or flip 3 and lose the presidency. We'll see how that goes. Biden is very, very old. So,
but yeah, this map shows 3 flips to the Republicans, and them taking the Senate with 52 seats.
Yeah, so, and always remember, guys, the House is irrelevant. Only the Senate matters because the Senate controls the Supreme Court, and everyone knows only the Supreme Court matters. So, thanks for watching, guys. Like this video, subscribe. hopefully we'll be more consistent with our uploads.
Yes, of course. And please,
Um,
please share this with your friends, guys. I mean, get this video out there. Get that 2024 hype going a bit early. Yeah.
whatever if it exists anyway. All right, thanks for watching, guys. See ya.
See ya.